us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Yo, I come from a small city where nothing is handed. Took my talents and made them work for me, look where I landed. I know a lot of those out there really don't want me having it. They just mad that I'm creeping on them and they had advantages. See, when my voice is on, I let my voice be the change. Put it in these communities, let it give them some range. Let them know that they got a shot at anything they want, and it ain't all about the teaching, but really how they responded. And here on KBLA Talk 1580, we gon' get into it. The whole world on Smiley out of your media. The others tell it, but they truths have some limits. We got that food for soul, not what they feeding you. Black lives matter all the time. Yeah, let's talk about it. The school to prison pipeline. Yeah, let's talk about it. Police brutality out of line. Yeah, let's talk about it. All these thoughts running through my mind. We gotta talk about it. I am unapologetically progressive in efforts to fight for the people. Gotta exercise our voting rights and then push the needle. I'm walking tall, cause I know that y'all expect me to lead. To push the message, I am willing to bleed. I gotta get what I need. That's social reform, that's prison reform. I'm highly informed, don't put down a pen. I got a list, I can't resist. I preach until I talk with a list. And who you know gon' give it to you like this? And here on KBLA Talk 1580, we gon' get into it. The whole world on Smiley out of your media. The others tell it, but they truths have some limits. We got that food for soul, not what they feeding you. Black lives matter all the time. Yeah, let's talk about it. About the school to prison pipeline. Yeah, let's talk about it. Police brutality out of line. Yeah, let's talk about it. All these thoughts running through my mind. We gotta talk about it.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it. We got a lot to talk about right here. KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome to the Danny Morrison Show, the whole 9 in the daytime, right at drive time. Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, California. Streaming live on the KBLA YouTube page as we speak. I'm not here to tell you how to think, but I am here to tell you what to think about. But first on the scene, so fresh and so clean. Let's check it with the queen. Navi, hit it, Eddie. Come on, let's go. MLK,
She's your queen to be.
Shall overcome.
Okay.
We shall overcome.
Oh, okay.
Y'all gonna leave me out by myself?
I was enjoying letting you do your thing.
Here in my heart. Y'all gonna leave me out here by myself?
You said you don't sing? Okay.
I
Beatbox.
do
Back 'em up on the-
believe
No?
We shall overcome.
He gone.
Someday. Y'all, if Martin Luther King was alive today.
First of all, I have to say this. You were giving me my intro.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How do I participate in my own intro?
If it's MLK Day
Okay.
and it's We Shall Overcome,
It's a good point.
you got to join in.
You're right.
Because if MLK was singing that song,
Okay.
you would be, I'm the soprano. I was in the choir before.
Hey. That's true.
How are you? How was your weekend?
Fantastic. I am coming off of an amazing event yesterday. I mean, I know you all heard, we have been promoting it over the past few weeks, the SC celebration. It was the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. It was fantastic. Of course, our own Tavis Smiley was, he was the keynote speaker. And when I tell you I don't even know if Tavis is listening at the moment, but I have to say this. Probably one of the best, one of the top 2 keynote speeches I've ever heard.
I'm not surprised.
When I tell you this man brought down the house, and you know his passion and his love for Dr. Martin Luther King anyway. He regards him as you should know, right?
I'm getting ready to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, he refers to him as the greatest
American this country has ever produced. Yeah. And so he knows what he's talking about, but he educated us. He educated us on Dr. Martin Luther King. So I mean, you could hear a pin drop in the audience. I mean, it was fantastic. You had tears, people crying by the end of his speech. It was incredible. It was incredible.
I am not the least bit surprised. We run that promo on this station all the time about that. One gentleman, I can't remember, he said, I've always wanted to be interviewed by you because I consider you to be the orator of our time. That's real talk.
Absolutely.
It's real talk. So,
Yeah, it was definitely an honor to sit there and listen to him in his element, talking about one of the people who he just truly admires and regards, like we said, as the greatest American this country has ever produced. So it was awesome.
And by the way, you could easily make that case. That he is.
Absolutely.
Because if it ain't him, who is it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to disqualify that it's not King, go for it. But who is it if it ain't King?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So you had a great weekend, obviously.
did.
I saw your stories, your Instagram stories too, with the red dress. The lady in red.
I came with
Fire.
my little red. I said, you know what? It's Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. I'm coming up in here, representing.
Yeah, let me see. MLK's birthday, Valentine's Day dress. I don't see the correlation, but we're going to go ahead and go with it.
Wait, how come I can't have another Valentine's Day dress?
Okay, sir.
You don't know what's up my sleeve.
It's fire. I ain't putting you down. It's like, look at old Robin. Okay, go back again. Let me look at Robin again. No, it's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And let's go to the man. By the way, alongside Queen Robin is a man so tall. So tall! Because he proudly stands on the shoulders of the giants that came before him. It's MLK Day. I can't mess with him today. He's a multi-talented, multi-hyphenate motivational speaker, property owner, coach, professional athlete, entrepreneur, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Danny Mo Show. Daniel Griffin! What's up with you? Got the shawl on again?
Man.
Because it's cold outside.
Yeah, man, you gotta protect your neck, and then you gotta be stylish in doing it, right?
I don't think a shawl's gonna protect your neck.
It does. Ask any singer.
Is that real talk?
Yeah.
They keep their
Singers
vocals
do that.
warm?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
Really?
thing.
Okay. Or you just said you're not a singer, so it doesn't.
No, I'm not, but I hang around them, so I pick up a little bit of their habits.
You don't sing in the shower, man. Everybody sings in the
Everybody's singing in the shower, but if somebody hear me, I'm gonna get something thrown at me.
Fair enough.
shower. How was your weekend?
Man, it was great, man. It culminated with the King Day Parade today. I'm always a patron of that, and it's always interesting to see how the diversity and the demographic changes and how the neighborhood changes as well in a positive way.
I was a little surprised. I had to park in freaking Riverside to get into the station today.
Oh,
That
wow.
being said, I was passing so many Latinos that had come to the parade.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I saw a lot of our Asian brothers and sisters. I saw a lot of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. I just saw the community, regardless of where they're from. I just love it. It was amazing, actually. A lot of kids, a lot of positive folks, a lot of friends and family. It was great.
So is that indicative of gentrification in this neighborhood, or more indicative of Dr. Martin Luther King and his message about unity and little white boys holding hands with little black girls and so on and so forth?
Well, if it wasn't King Day, you probably wouldn't have saw all that, right? So it is King all day. Today's King Day. A lot of people are celebrating it, and a lot of people actually know what it means to celebrate King Day, right? A lot of people see the depictions and do their history, right?
Yeah.
So it was really great today.
That's fantastic, man. I couldn't get out there. I'm going to get out there next time for sure. My weekend consisted of a powerful event and a couple of more trivial ones,
Okay.
I would say.
Do tell.
The powerful event I'm speaking of was obviously the vigil for Keenan Anderson on Saturday night, corner of Venice and Lincoln. And it was one of the most emotional, breathtaking events I've been to. And the fact that it was storming out there.
Well, yeah, I thought about that too. Literally, right at that time that I knew it was going on, I know it was raining a lot. It was very heavy. So I applaud everybody who said, you know what, that rain has nothing on this occasion, you know, and still made their way out there. So definitely, I'm glad that you made it as well.
You wouldn't know that people were crying because it was raining so much. But here's what I was saying, to kind of piggyback on what you were just saying about the parade today. It had to be a quarter non-black out there. So are we making better progress than we're willing to admit? Here we got Black History Parade today. Martin Luther King, excuse me. A lot of non-black people out there. Black Lives Matter vigil on the corner of Lincoln and Venice the other night. A lot of non-black people out there too. Are we making progress?
I think we're actually just
Or
repeating
both
it.
of these anomalies?
I think no. I think we're actually repeating history. I mean, if you look at some of the civil rights movements in the '60s, you saw a lot of non-black people were supporting us at that point too. They were the minority, of course, but history repeats itself, and I think this time, hopefully, is going in the right direction.
I come from Kern County, as you know, and I'm telling you, every Black Lives Matter rally, 80% non-black.
Oh wow,
Real talk. Vast majority Latino.
really?
So what does that say about the movement for us in different areas of the country?
I just think that they understand.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and who's to say? I mean, I applaud that. You know, my girls at school were, they had, you know, black student unions at all the schools. right?
BSU?
They were,
BSUs,
yeah, they
yeah,
were
absolutely.
definitely at the BSU event, you know, at their school. And this was specifically, this particular one was going to be talking about what to do in case you were ever pulled over. So the amount of non-black students who came to that particular, you know, it's not a ceremony, what would you call it, a gathering, that particular gathering, my kids were telling me, I mean, it was profoundly attended by non-black people. But I think it says a lot about the comfortability. First of all, we're showing other people that it's okay and we appreciate the support. Obviously, we're welcoming people. They feel welcome. And so I don't think it's a new thing, and I don't think it's an anomaly. I just think that we're understanding, you know, a little bit more, because the other thing is things are so much more blatant. We used to hear about things. We used to, you know, just kind of around the way, like you would just hear about what everybody had to go through. But now everything is so prevalent. It's in your face. It is on camera. And we're all human at the end of the day. And like Daniel was saying, these are our brothers and our sisters. And I think that we're all understanding that, and they understand our plight as well. So they will come out and support.
Would they be accurate in saying that we don't return the favor? If there's an immigration rally here in Los Angeles, how many African Americans out there?
It's a good point. I think I've said this before. I think the one thing that holds us back is the cultural barrier. There is there's a language barrier. 9 times out of 10, if they're going to go and have their own rally for, you know, immigration, let's just say, they're probably going to be speaking in Spanish, something that majority of us don't know. I mean, you may be able to pick up a few words here and there, but majority of you won't understand. And I think that holds us back, unfortunately, from so many things that they do. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we don't want to show our love, because at the end of the day, if a life was lost or someone was beaten, that's a universal thing we all understand. Pain is universal, so that's going to bring us out, or at least help us to support. But going to rallies and things like that for them is a little bit tougher because of the language/cultural barrier.
You buy that, Daniel?
It depends. I mean, obviously, I think it's a class thing here. I think anytime you have something against the community where the police is involved or something negative, we all live amongst each other, our brown and black community here in South LA and Inglewood and Watson, Compton. I think we all chime together. I think once you start getting into the suburbs, then it kind of clicks off a little bit into maybe a cultural thing or something like that. But in the community, we all come together with the rallies and everything.
Po is po.
Yeah.
Poverty
So I
is
think
poverty.
I think it's a class thing. When you're in the city, and then in the suburbs, it tends to be more, do you assimilate with that, right? But in terms of African American support, we always at everybody's stuff. We support a lot of people, especially our brown community. We're very supportive. But with the brown community, we're very supportive.
Are we?
Oh, for sure. In South LA, Watson, Compton.
I'm not from here. So
Oh yeah, I've been to many events that was Latino based and African Americans were there. If they were in the community, right?
If there's a Cinco de Mayo festival, are we out there?
Oh, for sure. In LA? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were raised together. Like all of my old school Angelinos out there, you know, back in the day, we would go to the Huntington Park Christmas Parade. I would go to the movie theaters in Southgate on Tweedy. We did all of our shopping east. So we would all go to Huntington Park back in the day. All of our shopping, go downtown. We assimilated amongst each other. You know, the media creates this division, and you know, people use their platform to create discord in our community. But I think we're tight. Now, when you get to East LA, it's a different thing because most of the demographic there is probably 90-something% Latino, right? And we've had a couple of negative situations where African Americans tried to assimilate in that area, And then there was some backlash, later on. But in the earlier days, it was a lot of African American people all over Southern Cal. But demographics, and we move, and we try to tend to be around who we assimilate with best, right?
Okay. All right. 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, an early appearance from the Oracle on the phones. Wow. Danny Morrison Show on MLK Day, KBLA. Stay there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles.
From middays to nighttime.
Like George and Weezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
Dancing crew, trip for two, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free, updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Hi, this is Tavis.
Tavis, this is Dr. K. We've got a lot to talk about. I'll be in town on the 28th of February. Can you clear your calendar?
Absolutely, Dr. King. Good Lord, do I have some questions for you, sir. Hi, it's Tavis.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. This is Minister Malcolm. Now, I heard that you and Martin are getting together for a public dialogue on February 28th. You see, now I already know the date. Now, I know y'all not trying to keep me out of that conversation, are you?
No, sir. No, sir.
What happened to George Floyd shouldn't happen, not even to a dog. How long must the Negro continue to endure this foolishness at the hands of law enforcement? People can take but so much before they reach a breaking point. What do you mean, Black Lives Matter? Black lives haven't mattered in this country since Negroes stopped working for free at the end of slavery. You ought to be talking about Black Guns Matter and start your own NRA. Call it the Negro Revolutionary Amalgamation.
Don't miss this compelling historic radio event, The Return. When Tavis Smiley converses with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. Tuesday, February 28th, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to the Martin Luther King Day edition of the Danny Mo Show, KBLA Talk 1580. And give love to people on YouTube right now. Mimi Davis, what's up, girl? Penny Thompson in there. Ray Alexander's in there. We see all y'all. Keep it locked. We got a great show planned. Let's go to the phones real fast. Coming out the gates here on MLK Day. Let's go to the Oracle. Give me your height, your color, and your hood, Fahima.
I'm still 5'6", Carmel Brown, and I'm still in the nation's capital.
Washington, D.C., check it in. Drop that. Come on. Now, what are you going to debunk today? I just made a prediction before you came on.
I'm not calling to debunk anything, and I have to agree with Daniel. A lot of this stuff is class, and I've been going to protests for people like Mumia Abu-Jamal, for political prisoners, and there have always been progressive whites in those movements. There were cameras on the reckoning. That's why people were astonished to see so many white people out there. But a lot of the protests that I have historically been to, for Mumia Abu-Jamal, I remember back in the 90s, the protest we went to over the Brooklyn Bridge for the African immigrant who was murdered in the Bronx, right? Amadou Diallo. And there were a number of white people there. That's the other point. The other point I wanted to make, they are not there, Mark. I just sent you again information on Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is headed up by Nana Jumphreys. I would encourage you to have her on. She's been on with Dominique because she is a mutual friend. And she is from an English-speaking country. Many of the African immigrants, like the ones that were sterilized in 2020 by Donald Trump, they were from Cameroon and Jamaica. These were English-speaking countries. So it's not an issue of all the immigrants are Latino and Spanish-speaking.
I don't know if anyone ever said that. Did anyone say? Nobody said that all immigrants are Latino.
Well, I just heard something about that we don't understand the language they're speaking Spanish, and that's just not true. And I just would encourage you, please have Nana Jumphreys on. I just sent you email, the website for Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is an organization that's been around for quite some time, dealing with the issue of Black immigrants, because it's the media who continues to say that all the immigrants that are coming through are coming from Spanish-speaking country, and many of these people are Black. And everyone saw 2 years ago when many of the Haitian migrants came, and you saw it. You know, we saw Black people, and there's a thing going on right now in Chicago. There's a one of the red state governors sent a group of migrants to Chicago, and there are Black people protesting. They don't want them in their community. And she was going to set up, I think there was a school that had been closed a few years ago by the former mayor, and they were going to turn it into some sort of a place for these migrants to stay. And there are these people in Chicago complaining that they don't want them in their community. And these are other Black people. And the thing is the media has been distorting the situation, and what's been happening is the voices of Black immigrants have been silenced. Many of them are coming from English-speaking countries, and and I've said this before, I may sound repetitive, but a lot of the reasons why people are fleeing is because of the America's foreign policy, destabilizing economic structure in these countries, killing leaders that they don't agree with, and propping up dictators. So I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but I just would encourage you to look at, possibly consider having Nana Jumphreys, who's the executive director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration, that speaks to the issues of Black immigrants.
Did you send that information to me just now?
Yes, I sent it to you, and I had sent it to you previously, but I sent it to you again recently. And if you want, her email and number should be there, and if it's not, I'll send you her direct personal phone number and email, so you can have her on the show so she can explain the plight of Black immigrants.
That's fantastic. Give Fahima the call of the day, which, by the way, we might as well just engrave her name on all of them, the honorable.
I told you I ain't got no room to put me.
I ain't got no room.
I'm going to put them on eBay and see if I can sell them on eBay.
There it is.
Trust me, they ain't worth it. Thank you. Appreciate you, Queen.
Thank you, Fahima. Mimi also says, I think that African and Caribbean immigrants should be the immigration discussion as well.
There's
I
no
think
doubt.
That ties into what Fahima was saying.
There's no doubt. But I should have asked her. We just don't have time. It's like, does she think that when they are Latino-centric, you know, these rallies, are we out there? I still say no. You say yes. I say no. And if we are out there, it's just a small smattering of us. But we ain't out there.
And you know, it depends on the situation. I mean, like anything that's retaliatory against the community, if it's police or anything like that, we showing up, showing out.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That there are certain things. I mean, there are just certain things that are a universal language that it doesn't matter. You know, language or anything else for that matter. It won't apply because we're human at the end of the day. So if they're going through something or it's some sort of pain or whatever, I think that we will be out there.
Are we saying F the police is universal?
It's tough to say that, man, because who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah, these people.
We don't have a lot of time. We're up against it here, but I went and saw the House Party reboot this weekend.
Oh, you did? What did you think about it?
That movie is terrible.
Oh,
that's sad.
Shockingly terrible.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Oh, man.
I could not believe how bad it was. And then I looked up the rating. It's at a 29% rating. So I'm like, it's about right.
Oh, wow.
It's terrible. Tomorrow I want to talk about that. There have been a number of black classic creations.
Recreations, right?
Recreations.
Yes.
And I'm sick of it. We did it with Coming to America. We did it with Bel Air.
Yeah.
There was another one too. And it's like, we got to leave these alone. We keep trying to recreate them and they never do it right. Has it ever been done right when a classic creation, black media sensation, been recreated for today and they do it right?
That's going to be a great
The
conversation.
best man.
No,
That's not even
same
really,
cast and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. They can't be considered a recreation. It's the
Okay.
same. It's a.
Oh, you mean a total reboot?
A reboot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Leave them alone.
Yeah, yeah. You can't recreate nostalgic the moments that we. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because for us, it's not only the creation of what it was, a movie, a series, or whatever, but it's also what we attach to it, the memories and all of that. So, you know, maybe for this new generation, they like it, but for us, I think it's always going to hit different.
It only made like $4 million at the box office. So.
Oh.
I mean, it flopped hard.
I just don't think they're doing enough marketing behind it.
Yeah, I
too.
didn't see a lot of marketing.
Yeah, that could be it.
I'm pretty sure I know why. They probably saw it and said, ooh, we ain't spending no money on pushing this out there.
Oh, my goodness.
I read an article that said it was originally intended for HBO Max. And they said, we think we can get some dollars at the movie theater here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, LeBron had something to do with it.
He was the producer of the movie. It's terrible. Maybe that's why the Lakers are so bad right now.
Man.
Pay attention to the Lakers. Stop worrying about house party.
Oh, no.
News and traffic right now. When we come forward, we kick off the MLK Day conversation. You want to jump in? You know how we put it down for the town? 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. Danny Morrison Show, MLK Day, KBLA. Come on, let's go.
Nighttime is the right time for Danny Morrison on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm John Marshall. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The discovery of classified documents at President Biden's Delaware home is drawing comments from his predecessor. In a post on Truth Social, former President Trump bragged the files seized from his own Mar-a-Lago estate this past summer by the FBI were better protected than the files recently discovered at President Biden's residence. Trump added Mar-a-Lago is equipped with security cameras and staffed with Secret Service agents. Martin Luther King III is confident the U.S. will get better about voting rights. The eldest son of the late civil rights activist said on CNN that the country needs to make voting more accessible for all communities. His comments come just a day after the president of the NAACP said the racial wealth gap is the single greatest barrier in realizing the civil rights dreams of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That's the latest. I'm John Marshall on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
In Elysian Park, we've got an ongoing closure of the southbound 5 ramp to the southbound 110 to repair damages from mudslides. In Chatsworth, we also still have a closure of Iverson Road, both directions between Zaltana and Lakia Drive because of a large sinkhole. And in Beverly Hills, Mulholland Drive also remains closed between Summit Circle and Beaumont Drive. In Ventura County, Highway 33 closed between Ojai and Lockwood Valley, and Ventura Avenue between Casitas Vista and Creek Road. We have repairs in both directions affecting traffic. And a closure of westbound 126 between Hopper Canyon and Fillmore due to mudslides.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968, there were no black head coaches or black general managers in the NFL. Major League Baseball had no black managers. There is still room for improvement, but Dr. King would be very pleased to see the progress African Americans have made in sports. Since 1968, the NFL has had 25 black head coaches. Major League Baseball has had 6 black managers. 2 of them have won a World Series, Dusty Baker and Cito Gaston. 7 NFL teams began the 2022 season with a black GM, and virtually every NFL team has had a black quarterback since 1968. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we are slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
If you're the victim of a car accident, call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to getting the maximum compensation you deserve, our team hits it out of the park. Call 833-MVP-WINS for a free case review.
Call me your MVP. Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
It's a Martin Luther King Day Black Unity Gathering, Monday, January 16th from 5 to 9 p.m. at Giordano's Ethiopian Restaurant at 4020 West Martin Luther King Boulevard, right off Buckingham. Join me, attorney and chairman Malik Zulu Shabazz. I'm the student of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, the head of Black Lawyers for Justice and the chairman of the new Black Panther Party. Come on, Los Angeles. Homelessness, gang violence, economics, police brutality. We will all be dealing with it at Giordano's Ethiopian Restaurant, 4020 West Martin Luther King Boulevard in Los Angeles, 5 to 9 p.m. Celebrate Dr. King. Join us. Free food will be available. Black Power.
I have a dream.
The movie moved you, but the stage play will blow you away. It's Jacarius Johnson, New Jack City, live on stage.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
They were at the top of their game, but when loyalty and trust takes a hit,
DMB, man, we all we got.
so does survival.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Starring Big Daddy Kane, Tretch from Naughty by Nature, Flex Alexander, the original G Money, Alan Payne, and Gary Dourdan. January 20th through 22nd at the Orpheum Theater. Tickets at Ticketmaster. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory. Hands to
to the heavens. No man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day.
You were checking out the MLK Day edition of the Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. John Legend, Common. Is that from Selma?
From Selma.
I think from the Selma soundtrack. Yeah. I think didn't they get an Academy Award for that, or was it the Grammy? I can't remember.
They got some type of recognition.
It might be the Academy Award, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Common, underrated MC.
Oh.
Is he a top 50 MC?
Whoa.
Woo!
Great conversation.
Look at his tiny desk. His tiny desk is off the chain.
Yeah, he's amazing. I gotta have that. I think the next 10 from that list comes out tomorrow. We'll blend that into the broadcast to see how wrong you all are, because I'm absolutely right on that. By the way, shout out to KBLA's own Ray Richardson just sent me a text. He said, Shaft remake with Samuel L. Jackson was pretty good. The Superfly remake was questionable. I didn't even know there was a Superfly remake. When?
I do remember that. I don't think I saw it, but I do remember.
Who starred in it? Do you? Who was in Superfly?
Good question. Really good question.
Ray, no disrespect. Shaft was weak, man. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna tell you it was fire.
What was fire?
If we're gonna talk about the Shaft remake, forget the movie. That R. Kelly Bad Man. Oh my God.
What?
You don't know that song?
No.
Bring that up. Boot that up real fast, Andy. Bad Man R. Kelly. Just a little. Oh. It's from that soundtrack. Oh my God.
From which? Oh, from
the Shaft soundtrack.
Oh.
It's I was raised in these streets. Oh my God. I can't believe you don't know this song. You?
Okay, let's see. Let's see if I've heard it before. Maybe I just don't know the title.
It's just. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say what I'm saying.
Let the man do his thing.
You better.
Watch this.
I was born in these streets, raised in these streets, walked in these streets, talked by these streets, lived in these streets, hustled in these streets, arrested in these streets, protected by these streets. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of these streets.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Listen, okay, I'm telling you.
That's a throwback.
That's a heater right there.
Wow.
By the way, I want to say something else about MLK Day that has nothing to do with the actual day. It has to do with some of the ignorance of us. If I see one more likeness of MLK popping bottles on some digital flyer for some party this weekend, I'm gonna take a hostage. I swear.
Wait, do you mean?
I saw MLK slapping it behind the strippers on the flyer.
Oh no, really? Oh, people are using his image to hold bottles or whatever.
Why don't we hold his likeness really seriously the same way Latinos do with Cesar Chavez? You don't see that happening? We got MLK on the digital flyer popping bottles? Come on, y'all.
What's the answer to that?
What is it? You tell me. Why are we doing it?
Well, first and foremost, we have to keep each other in a high self-esteem and a high light, not just our legends that are no longer here, but people that are actually here. We deface and defame all of our iconic legends. We don't support them. I mean, the MLK memes have gotten in the flyers and the graphics have gotten worse throughout the years. And it's awful now. I mean, we see MLK with chains, with blunts, different type of attire that a reverend or a family member or somebody of his status would never wear. Just we got him in cars with girls and just craziness, and it's very, very unfortunate. And like you said, Danny, we don't see the Catholic people that are Catholic doing Mother Teresa like that. We don't see people doing Gandhi like that. You don't see Nelson Mandela or none of our other iconic figures. I don't think in our community the young people actually know about Dr. Martin. They may hear it, but do they actually know what he really stands for as a man? They just hear TV and stuff like watch a parade and that. But do we really, really hold Dr. King's legacy 365, 24/7?
No, we don't.
In our schools and communities, do we?
It's very much indicative of who we are, our generation and even a little bit older. And we have not done right by our kids. We've not done right by them. And this goes back to the conversation that we were talking about where, remember when I said I was away on my trip to Hawaii for the girl's birthday? And they have they regard their land, their volcanoes, their bodies of water.
Throw
they
some
regard
trash
them
on the
so highly, like
throw some litter.
No, yeah, you're not about to get away with that. Nah, and they teach them that is a part of their culture. They teach their people and the tourists. They're like, we respect our own, so you're certainly going to come here and respect us, right? So even down to that, we don't have anything or anybody that we regard in such a high level like that. And that is so unfortunate. We have completely dropped the ball. And I think it's just like the memes. I've not seen them. That's heartbreaking. I've not seen the memes. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they're on social media somewhere. I just haven't seen them.
Go to Shade Room. They have
I don't even want to see it. I'm going to be mad. But I hear you.
Furious.
I'm sure. But you know what that says to me? That here and now, right here and right now, is more important to get the bag or to get the followers or to get people to come out to my event. It's so much more important than the legacy of Dr. King. And so that's the sad part. We've completely dropped the ball on that.
You're talking like we're at the point of no return, and I'm starting to believe.
I never want to say.
We have to retrain an entire generation of young people, is what you're telling me.
We have to.
Schools ain't gonna do.
We have to pivot. But see, this is not new in any way, shape, or form. We have to pivot and find a way. And I don't know. It's not like we're lost. The point of no return is when we don't have any more leaders, when we don't have any more people who care about the legacy and where we go from here.
Or no examples, right?
No examples. Yeah. We have people. We just don't have enough of them. We don't have enough of a voice or people who care. But something has got to happen to turn the future generations to love and care about our ancestors and the legacy.
The leaders are out there, the leaders are active, but the leaders aren't as socially connected to that generation of young people to get them. So how do we bridge the gap?
Well, I think that we do have young leaders who are, on the come up right now, or they're there right now, but I think that we don't have enough of them, again, with a loud enough voice to make a difference. Maybe slight differences, but it feels like, I don't know, it's just sometimes, and I am the queen of hope and optimism, but sometimes it just seems like it's so far-fetched. The idea of getting us back is so far-fetched because there's so much to do. There's so much to do, and so it can become a little, I don't want to sound like a pessimist, I'm not that, but it just seems like it's just so overwhelming sometimes.
I am when it comes to that. I ain't gonna sit there and lie to you. The fact that we don't hold Martin Luther King in reverence. If there's any African American that we should be doing that with, it's him. You guys remember back in 2015? Remember those two Muslim cats broke into that, I think it was Hebdo, and killed those reporters for disparaging the name of Allah? They went in and killed those cats. Now, of course, that is an extreme. We should be holding MLK up the same way. Because what if white people put MLK on a flyer like that? We would lose our freaking minds. Would we not? We'd be going crazy.
No, you're right, but it stems from just, once again, I hate to say this, but it goes back to class too, man. It's like you have generations of families that have went to Morehouse, that have went to historically black colleges, that have legacies, third generation doctor, third generation plumber, third generation something. Family stood for something, right? Something that your great grandparent or your grandmother did that you want to continue and honor, and it just so happens to be great for the family unit, right? I think, you got all these generational curses out here, and then one generation does it, next generation doesn't. And it's like our big mamas are twerking, they're in the clubs. Our big mamas are now in their 50s. People had kids younger. You become a grandparent now at 45 or 50, and then you're still living your life. You're in your, you're divorced now, and then you're single. So you go out and you put all these imageries and these videos and things on your social media, and your grandkids are your friends on these pages, and they see these things. And if you're shaking and you're doing all these different things, twerking and all this stuff, you're not going to be holding MLK and other black leaders and iconic figures in the most light when you're doing these type of things.
And when you have other things to worry about. Let's remember that our people, and not to say this doesn't apply to other people, I'm just talking about black people right now. We've had so much to worry about. If life was easy and we didn't have to worry about being killed, all right? If life were easy and all we had to think about was building a legacy or holding on to, our past legacy, and that's all we had to teach our kids, let's be real. I mean, that would probably be a lot easier. But we are so widespread that it's not. This is not an out. I'm not giving black people an out for dropping the ball. I'm just saying a reality here. We've had our thoughts and our concerns in other places. That's just another thing. You get what I'm saying? To think about. We've had to try to stay alive all these years. And so it's like, who's thinking of holding on? Which, by the way, that should be the number one reason we held on to our legacy and Dr. King and all of those who came before us and the civil rights movement leaders, because of everything that we have to go through. I'm just saying, but we're too widespread.
Fair said.
We're spread
fairly stated. By the way, I looked it up real fast. Back in 2015, 2 devout Muslims forced their way into the offices of Charlie Hebdo in Paris and shot a dozen innocent people to death in the name of Allah. Hebdo is a satirical magazine known for irreverent criticism of all religions, including Islam. According to witnesses, the gunman shouted, quote, "We have avenged the Prophet Muhammad."
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, we got to just...
That's extreme, but
it's very much extreme. But I want us to be serious about MLK and his likeness, man. That's the only point I'm trying to make today. 1-800-920-1580, Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580, MLK Day Today. Stay there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles. From middays to nighttime. Like George and Weezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
Netflix's Strong Black Lead releases a new list for January. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. According to a 2022 study, Black African-American consumers spend an average of 3.5 hours a day watching TV. Interesting. Now let's get to this list of the latest additions to the Netflix library for Netflix's Strong Black Lead for January. Coming in at number 1, Daddy Daycare. Next, The Nutty Professors 1 and 2, Blue Streak, National Security, Mars 1, You People, Princess Power, and Life. KBLA listeners, let us know, will you be watching? Do you also watch 3.5 hours of television a day? How many of you watch via cable? What's your favorite streaming service? Let us know by hitting us up on all social platforms at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
At Cedars-Sinai, we're honored to be named the #1 hospital in California and the #2 hospital in the nation in U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals Honor Roll. We're also proud to be named #1 in 6 specialties in Los Angeles. Thank you to our physicians, nurses, academic leaders, and thousands of other team members who bring their best to Cedars-Sinai every day. Learn more about our top-ranked care at cedars-sinai.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that when we fight, we win. Community Coalition trains activists and organizers in order to support power building with Black, Brown, Indigenous, and people of color. Community Coalition works to help transform the social and economic conditions in South LA that foster addiction, crime, violence, and poverty by building a community institution that involves thousands in creating, influencing, and changing public policy. Founded by Karen Bass in 1990, Community Coalition was born as an African American and Latino organization with the goal of turning hopelessness and despair into action. The activism of the Community Coalition's members and community residents has almost solely stimulated economic recovery in South LA for decades, generating billions of dollars by redirecting them to South LA schools and foster care. In addition, Community Coalition offers amazing mind, body, soul resources, advocacy, and policy work, and has a robust and active membership body. To become a member, get a referral, or get support for your nonprofit, visit cocosouthla.org. That's cocosouthla.org, or call 323-750-9087. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Wondering if you should get the updated COVID-19 booster? Here are 3 reasons why you should. 1, vaccines and boosters provide better protection from COVID-19. 2, even if you've had COVID-19 before, boosters are recommended to keep your immunity strong, especially as new variants emerge. And 3, your risk of getting very sick from COVID-19 goes up with age, and boosters can help lower the chance of hospitalization and death. Find a booster near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
But she's amazing. Hello?
Hello.
We're having a conversation. We'll talk about it later in the week. By the way, guys, have you seen the sculpture, The Embrace, that's right now, by the way, on our socials as we speak? Everybody's shaking their head. Stop it. The city of Boston, known as one of the most racist cities in this country, did something good. We should pat them on the back and say thank you very much. Okay? It's called The Embrace. It's created by artist Hank Willis Thomas, and it's a bronze figural abstraction based on the photo of a hug between Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King after he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. But here's the thing. Depending on the angle, look, Black Twitter's been killing that thing, okay? Universally, almost. Some say it looks like a phallic symbol on one side. We ain't gonna get into specifics on that. Some say the city of Boston is too racist to actually have the faces of Coretta and Martin on it, and that's the reason they did it the way that they did it. But I don't know from you two. First time you saw it, what'd you think?
Well, I saw the photo, and I hadn't seen the actual structure of it until the comedian Kevin
on stage. Oh my God, that's the best one I've seen.
It was funny. He's a comedian, right? He is a funny guy. It was funny, but that was my first view of it, and he is. How could I say it? I mean,
he's a talent.
He is a talent, but it's the way he was describing it, and it was like I can't help but see it the way that he describes it, right? Because he did that part so well, but even that, I'll say, as much as I enjoy watching him and he's entertaining and stuff, the problem is even right now, we don't put respect on these types of statues of our people, right? We don't put any respect on it.
We don't, or they don't?
No, even us, we don't. Black Twitter is tearing it down, tearing it apart. We don't put respect on it. That's part of the problem.
We wanted.
I'm just saying, it should still be something that no matter how you see it or view it or whatever, it should still be something to be respected, right? It should be. But the problem is, part of the problem is, Black Twitter is going to let the world know, and we all know that all things kind of start with Black Twitter. In the culture, everything starts with Black Twitter.
Every day.
And part of the problem with Black Twitter is one person may have an opinion on something, and the next person comes behind them may not have even been thinking about what person number one says, but then they jump on board, and now it's becoming a trend. Now it's becoming a thing. And so that's the issue. Black Twitter, it could be extremely good and useful, and other times it's just like, man, come on.
But Robin, do you give any credence to the fact that this is Boston? And many sports athletes out there have said, has erased it. Do you see any validity in them saying they just didn't want to put black people's faces up there?
I don't know, because I don't know what that conversation was. Okay. I don't know. It's a huge statue.
Humongous.
It's huge. So to go even further and put the heads of Coretta and Martin on the statue. I don't know how much taller it would have been. I don't know. I don't know if you know the.
They could have. What is that statue in the middle of? There's an African statue that is one of the biggest in the world. I gotta look that up. It's huge.
I think it's in Africa.
Yeah, I gotta show that to you guys. They could have done it.
Okay.
$10 million they spent on that thing.
Okay.
Was the artist African American?
He was. Yeah.
He had to be.
He is. Yeah.
So you haven't told me what you think. What do you think?
Well,
real quick, we got.
Yeah, I know Boston's racial history. I've been out there many times, and probably not the best place to put it because of the history. But we're trying to atone, right? We're looking for a new beginning. So why not, right? People have made a conscious effort to take down Confederate statues around the country. Have they not? So I think some of these places deserve statues such as this, right? This is a perfect place, actually.
Yeah.
Because this is where a lot of, slave ships came into the port. They resided here. We had a lot of racial discrimination here and issues. It's a perfect place. The thing is, it's abstract to some people. Art is interpretation, right? Like you may see a painting and you say, okay, that's a building. We all know it's a building. This is kind of like abstract a little bit, like it's interpreted. You have to go up here and interpret what it means to you.
But it's not intended to be an abstract.
It's not, but I'm just saying
structure.
that because
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to help it out a little bit.
I get it.
Dancing is what we call it.
Yeah, but we have to because we can't just knock this down. It's an African American artist.
Yeah.
It's about one of our great leaders and his wife, the Embrace. The meaning of it, they tried. I
agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it is odd. And I thank you, Mimi, because Mimi is saying it is odd and that they could have sculpted their faces and their upper body, to your point, Danny. And I hear that. And I agree with that. I just don't know how much more that would have been. Or could it have been something a little bit different with their faces only? Or, something like that. I don't know. But nonetheless, it's out there, and I think we should respect it and stop tearing it down, even with our words, because if we don't respect it, nobody else certainly is going to respect it.
I'm going to. But the consensus on Black Twitter is 20 years from now, 30 years from now, someone goes to Boston. They should be able to look up at that and know exactly what it is just by looking at it. Now, I'm sure there's a small column right next to it saying who this is and what it's about. But if you can't from a distance see that statue and know exactly what it is, it's failed, right?
I don't think so. I think there are plenty of sculptures out there that you have to know the meaning behind it or the description in order to know what it is.
But one for the purpose of atonement, like you used the word atonement, you should be able to see Martin Luther King's face.
This is not a good atonement piece.
Thank you.
Only because.
Spoken like an art.
Well, I did a little more research. $10 million they spent on this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say. $10 million. And a lot of people are saying it's a man's private part. It reminds them of that.
I said phallic symbol. You just got to go and just put it on out there. You got to be more specific.
I'm just saying. It's all over the media. It's terrible.
Dang, that's huge.
It's huge.
You wouldn't know nothing about that, didn't you? News and traffic right now. Danny Mo Show, KBLA. Stay there.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm John Marshall. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The Twin Cities are raising money for college students of color this MLK Day. The 33rd annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Breakfast was held this morning at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Keynote speaker and Vice President of the Minnesota Association of Black Lawyers, Abu Amara, hoped the event was an opportunity for the community to come together and move forward